600 kilowatt hours per month. Divide that by 30 days in a month is 20 kilowatt hours a day. And we divide that by 5 hours a day of usable sun for good solar panels. We're an elite dealer for SunPower Corporation. They are the standard in terms of efficiency, the ability to produce electricity from sun better than anybody else. So you divide that by 5 hours a day, gives you a 4 kilowatt system AC. But as I said, solar panels are DC, and there's a little bit of conversion loss going from DC to AC. So you need about a 4.5 kilowatt system DC. Eliminating these three tiers would save you $165 a month, or about $2,000 a year. The cost of this system is $27,000. You're going to get a rebate of $2,700. You're going to get a tax credit of $7,300. And so your net cost is $17,000. And if you divide $17,000 by $2,000, you get an 8.5-year payback, assuming that utility rates never go up. How many people believe that utility rates will never go up?
Okay, thanks so much.
How many think they're going to go down? Okay, good. Solar might not be the best. But so, still, 8.5-year payback. So you're putting a money tree in your backyard. Every month you're going out and taking money off of it. And after 8.5 years, it's paid itself off. And then all that money after that is free. If we want to zero out, we now have to go to 1,000 kilowatt hours, larger system, costs more, net cost is more, you're saving more, you're saving $2,600 a year, but the payback is 10 years. And that's very typical. If you want to zero out and you have a bill that's in tier 3, 4, and 5, it's a 10-year payback. And it's not changing. I mean, people say, well, you know, the cost of solar is dropping. And it is. And if you wait 12 months, this number, this $6 a watt number, wherever it is, on the last page right here, is going to be less. But this number, this rebate, is going away. I mean, right now we're in what they call level 7 of 10. So you only have 3 more levels before that incentive is 0. And of course, if you wait until 2016, the federal tax credit goes away. So I always say, you know, now's the time to go solar. But I'm biased. Okay, financing options. I mean, you saw some big numbers there. You're going to have to write a check. Here, I'll go back. So if you wanted to do the optimal financial, best payback, you're still writing a check for $17,000. If you wanted to zero out, you're writing a check for $26,000. That has been the biggest stumbling block for people wanting to put solar on their roof. But there are financing options available now that were not available just even a few months ago with SunPower Corporation. They have a 12-month savings cash program. So, it's like borrowing money for no interest rate for 12 months. You can get a 20-year loan. That's kind of a drag. Or you can do, I'll show you a numerical example for what they call a 20-year operating lease. It's new with SunPower. We realize that SunPower Corporation, their goal is to sell more panels. So they've created a third-party unit called SunPower Leasing. And that entity really just wants to cover their costs of leasing. What they really want to do is just provide a vehicle to sell more solar electric panels. So this is an example that I just worked on for a prospective client on Monday. A 5.4 kilowatt system, the all black SunPower panels, so it's a little more than $6 a watt to install those because they are the best looking panels. To buy this system was going to cost them $34,000. Less a rebate, it was going to cost them $31,000. That's the amount of the check that they have to pay us. They get a tax credit that nets the project cost at $21,700, and the payback is 10 years. SunPower has a lot of leasing options. The two that I presented here, option A, prepaid lease. In a prepaid lease, you put a certain amount of money up front. You never have a lease payment. You don't own the system. SunPower LLC owns it. They're maintaining it for the duration of the lease, which is 20 years. But you have an early buyout option. So if you look at the numbers, for this specific case, prepaid lease, $16,400, way less than that number. No monthly payments. Obviously the same savings of $2,100 a year. And after 7 years, you can buy it for $900. So you would have a total outlay of $17,300 compared to $21,700 if you buy it and then get the tax credit. So clearly this makes a much better decision to do this prepaid lease. Zero down are for those customers that don't want to spend anything at all. So you have a prepay of zero, you have a monthly lease payment of $160, but you're saving money every month on your electric bill. So at the end of 12 months, the difference between what you saved on your electric bill minus what you paid in lease payments, you're still putting $180 in your pocket, and you haven't spent any money. And you can buy that at the end of 7 years for $16,140, still spending a lot less than what you did up here. So these are the two extreme options on lease. Anywhere in between, you can put more money down, have less lease payment. There are ways of starting out with a smaller monthly lease payment and then escalating that. So with this lady, was a husband and wife. The lady seemed to be the one making the financial decision. She said, why would anybody ever do this? And I don't know anymore why anybody would ever buy a solar electric system when you can lease it and the numbers work out like this. Better. Question.
So you lease it, and then you can buy it out
After 7 years.
after 7 years, and then you own it.
Correct. Or you can just keep leasing it.
Why, if you can own it?
Well, because maybe you don't want it. I mean, maybe you're the type of owner that says, the technology is going to change in 20 years. They'll just come take it off your roof and you're done. And you can go get another one.
The warranty is 25 years, so right?
So, right, so warranty. The production warranties are out to 25 years. If you buy the system, the manufacturer's workmanship warranties are 10 years. But under a lease, everything's covered for the duration of the lease. So it doesn't matter.
So if you put it on a house and then you have it on a lease and you sell the house, you can either pull it or...
No, great question. So, if you sell the house and it's before the early buyout time of 7 years, and that's an event that will allow you to get out of the lease by either buying it or having the buyer of the house assume the payments. So if you have a prepaid lease, there are no payments. In this scenario here, then there are payments. They'll have to, assume that lease loan. Any other questions? Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is a little technical, but I did a solar thing.
What do you mean a solar thing?
Well, panels,
Oh, okay.
and then I had a solar controller. And if the solar controller was taking in 24 volts rather than 12 volts, it had an algorithm to it that normally the two panels would put out 7 amps each for 14, that the controller through this analog would boost it 20 to 30%.
Right. Those are panel optimizers. We've used them on occasion. They're wonderful. Question?
Yes, on your zero down,
Yeah.
say you get to the end, you got the 16,000 to pay
If you
off.
want. No, after 7 years. That's
After
the
7
early
years.
buyout. You don't have to.
But if you chose to,
Yeah.
does SunPower offer some kind of financing on that 16,000?
Well, I mean, they have a loan today, but I don't know what they're going to have in 7 years.
Right. Okay.
I mean, really, why wouldn't you just not buy it? Why wouldn't you just, keep, you realize you're spending no money and you're putting money in your pocket. And granted, it's not a lot, $200 a year, but if I could do 1,000 of these deals a year, I'd be okay. It's really, it's just not, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Question? No. Question? No, nothing about commercial. I don't need to talk. That's it. Questions?
I guess the only question I really got on the financing side of it, it seemed like SunPower had a unsecured financing.
Right. Right. They have a loan. It's unsecured, based on FICO score,
Okay, so it is based on FICO score,
Right,
but it's unsecure
right.
from the standpoint that you don't have to put
Your house up.
your house up, or you don't have to put it on your taxes. That was something that was going to come up, and I guess that still isn't quite there yet,
I don't know.
if it ever will be.
I'm not a tax expert.
Okay.
SunPower is doing some other things. How many people are thinking about getting an electric car in the next year or two or three?
Yeah.
So they announced something with Ford, with the Ford Focus, I think, electric that's coming out, where you can buy a 2.5 kilowatt system for $10,000, which is cheap. The goal being that is enough to charge your car for a year. And they've now just announced something similar with Nissan for the Leaf, which is already out. In fact, we have 2 or 3 customers of ours that also have Nissan Leafs, and they're effectively driving, on free gas.
So that financing's through the car company.
I don't know if it's financing. I think you could lease that system through
Okay.
SunPower leasing, or you can get a loan.
Okay.
But the point is that you're getting a discounted system. Remember, I put up there $6 a watt for a 2.5 kilowatt house. That would be, or a house system. That would be $15,000. The $10,000 is after rebate, but before tax credit. So it's a discount. It works out to like five something a watt to get that 2.5 kilowatt system through Ford and or Nissan.
And of course,
Yeah.
is that still, if you wanted to get more than just charging the car, you wanted, more solar, that still can be worked out in that same
Oh, yeah.
fashion? Okay.
And probably the same price. I mean, the way I would look at it.
Okay.
And question.
Is the charge rate at 240, or what's the charge rate on the cars?
Oh, I don't know. You mean 240 volts?
Yeah, because it'll charge faster that way, it takes less time.
Well, the solar doesn't care. The solar is feeding your service panel.
Oh, so.
Okay, so it's feeding the service panel. You have a circuit brought over to charge your electric car. My opinion on that is don't waste your money on a car charger for 240 volts. I mean, just plug it into your 110 outlet. All of our Nissan Leaf customers are just plugging into a 110 outlet. I mean, it's charging overnight.
Full charge overnight for a Nissan Leaf.
Full charge overnight, 8 hours. So
Now-
you plug it in, when you get home at night, when you get up in the morning, it's ready to go.
Now, I also heard that,
Well, now, I'm not an electric car expert, so I don't know. Nissan says the Leaf will go 80 miles, which, isn't bad. That's,
depends on the driving too. I heard that Japan, they've got some of these Nissan Leafs as a battery backup for the home if the power fails. Is that happening anywhere in the U.S. that you know of?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
No, no.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I will say that, Z's presentation on the LED lights, is focusing on the demand side of your electric bill. And even though I want to sell you a solar electric system which is focused on the supply side, it is a lot less expensive to first focus on the demand. So if you have and no one in this room had more than $200 a month bill, but wherever your bill is, the first thing you want to do is see where you can, reduce the demand.
Right.
And then go put solar on your roof to reduce this, to increase your supply. And at the end of the day, you're hopefully close to being zeroed out, which is really the goal, right?
So if you were going to get an electric car, would you suggest getting that first before you put the solar in to see what draw that takes on your system, or is it that big a deal?
No, because it's a very easy computation to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
If you know how many miles a day you're going to drive your electric car, we know it's about 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So we can just add up how many kilowatt hours per month that is on your electric bill, and you can compute the impact. And of course, what could happen, especially for everybody in this room who didn't have a high electric bill, is buying an electric car could shift you up into that expensive tier.
Right.
So that's where putting a little 2.5 kilowatt solar electric system on your roof would really benefit, because it would then take you back to the lower tiers.
Gotcha.
Does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, beautiful.
Smart meters, is there anything that needs to be talked about that?
No.
Not really.
I mean, I heard that a couple months ago that the current revision of smart meters didn't work with any renewable sources because they didn't go backwards.
Oh, no.
But I think that that's changed or is changing.
That's a
But
problem.
realize though that ultimately, once enough smart meters get deployed, the whole goal, one of the goals of the utility, is to put you on time of use. I mean, with that smart meter, we'll let them do that, because it costs them more to get it to generate electricity during the day, during the week. So businesses pay that. Most businesses that use a lot of electricity are on time of use. Homeowners, for the most part, aren't. So eventually, everyone in this room is going to be on a time of use electric, paying schedule. And depending on how you use electricity, your bill could go up drastically. And that's where you really want to consider a solar electric system, because solar generates electricity during the day, and that's when the highest charges are for electricity. So,
Okay. Now, I heard in some states, there might be 12 or 15 states in the U.S. where you can actually put in as much solar as you want, and they'll just keep giving you money at the end of the month or the end of the year. Where are we in California with that?
it's like not worth it. So they have to do that beginning this year. The way it has been worked is they never want you to design a solar electric system that produces more kilowatt hours on a 12-month basis than what the homeowner is using on a 12-month basis. And when they're looking at the rebates and they're looking at how much production they're going to get, if that production is higher, they'll kick it back, unless you write a letter saying, well, they're going to get a hot tub or whatever. But eventually that household might start using less electricity because they're putting in LED lights, or because the kids have moved out of the house, or whatever. And so if you're a net generator at the end of 12 months, they will pay you 4 cents a kilowatt hour. Remember that tiered rate structure I put up there? The cheapest tier 1 was 10 or 11 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're going to be paying you less than half of the cheapest electric rate that they charge for you. So it will not make financial sense to ever produce more than you need on 12 months.
In California, but does it make a sense in some other states?
I don't know, but we all live in California. I mean, in Germany, it made a lot of sense. Germany did that. Germany had a feed-in tariff program where they paid you a bunch of money if you generate more electricity. And it became a revenue source for families. And that's why Germany has more solar than the United States, if you can believe that. Smaller country, fewer people, more north, the weather sucks.
No sun, there's no sun.
No sun. Well, they must have some sun. I'll let you, I don't know, I have to remove this, but, anyways. So, yeah, I mean, that's,
It's a great idea,
that's never gonna happen, man. The utility lobbies in this country are way too powerful. I mean, it's just not gonna happen.
How's your system at home?
Great. And it was designed to, not zero us out, but put us to like 90%. That was when I had 3 kids at home. I now have 0 kids at home. So, I'm one of those that, we're using less electricity. We're not home during the day, during the week, because we both work. So we've gone on time of use, and, our electric bill's 0.
So you need an electric car.
Yeah, but my wife is gonna wait till they have a convertible electric car, because she wants that convertible
Okay.
to have the top down.
So
And,
you can have that till summer.
and I'm kinda holding out for that Fisker Karma, that really sporty.
For the price to come
hybrid.
down.
It's a $90,000 car.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
The kids aren't at home, you can afford it.
The Leaf, the Leafs are nice, but I'm just not there. I'm not there on the Leaf.
What is your take on that car?
So, I think, the barrel of oil today is $100. Gasoline is gonna be $5 a gallon. It's gonna be $10 a gallon in 10 years probably. You're gonna need electric cars. Personally, I think an all-electric car doesn't make a lot of sense unless you have 2 cars and the other